Pomeranian dog gets the last laugh after owner decides to abandon it in a shelter. If you think about pets, there is no denying that dogs are the most lovable ones. Their loyalty and warmth is something that separates them from other animals. There is, however, an unfortunate practice of purchasing their pups from dog breeders and pet shops instead of adopting them. You might think that this is harmless, but there are several dog breeders who abandon and keep dogs under-maintained if they cannot sell them. This is the story of one such puppy who had one hell of a ride to get to where he is today. If you do not know what dog breeders do, well, allow us to explain. These people breed dogs solely for business purposes. The only reason why they keep dogs is for them to get profit from the puppies they produce. And dog breeds like pit bulls, bulldogs, and Pomeranians can be very expensively priced. Therefore, when people get to know how costly they are, it becomes a trend to breed them. And so, since these breeders do not really have a love or care for the dogs they breed, what happens if the business goes down? Well, that is the unfortunate part. You see, some puppies who do not sell and do not attract customers are left with a very sad treatment. They usually get abandoned or are left at shelters, and one of these abandoned dogs was this cute furball. So when dog breeders who are not necessarily dog lovers cannot sell their puppies, they end up leaving them anywhere they can. If a puppy cannot be sold, dog breeders usually opt for a shelter, or they just leave them on the street. The lovable pup here is called Jasper, and although you can see that he is so cute, no one wanted to buy him. Because he was too big, nobody wanted to buy Jasper. So because of his size, there was no one who was interested in buying this poor dog. And after seeing how cute the dog is, it is a little strange, right? How can a dog this adorable even be ignored? And so after realizing that, due to his size, Jasper would not be easily sold, the owner made a decision regarding the little puppy that was truly unconscionable. So since the dog breeder who owned Jasper was not a lover of animals and not really a fan of dogs, he made sure he did not have to deal with him any longer. After finding difficulty selling the poor dog, Jasper's owner wanted nothing to do with him. And so in the end, poor Jasper was left abandoned at a random shelter where he certainly did not get good care. So when he was abandoned by his owner, he found himself in an unfamiliar place where he could not find love and affection. And due to the fact that he was a little bigger than the average Pomeranian dog, the staff at the shelter wanted to include him on the site Pet Finder in the hopes that the dog would end up in a forever home. Did Jasper get lucky? So after being listed on the site to find a loving home for poor Jasper, the employees at the shelter were crossing their fingers. They were very nervous because they knew how difficult it was for his previous owner to get him to be bought. But lucky for Jasper, a woman by the name Kathy Grayson found him on Pet Finder and was automatically drawn to him. And so after reading about his story and looking through his pictures, Kathy was not affected by his size, and she, without any doubt, knew that she wanted to adopt Jasper, and she made a phone call to the shelter and asked them to immediately prepare the adoption papers. You will not believe what happened next to Jasper. What would become of the two? So after telling the shelter to get all the paperwork done, Kathy finally met the puppy. She did not have any change of plans and was immediately sure that this dog was meant for her. And after taking care of the legal documents, she could finally bring the little pupper to her home in New York. And after this, the next thing she did was give little Jasper a warm bath. And so after being left at a shelter that could not really provide him with what he needed, little Jasper ended up being adopted by a woman who loved dogs. And although Jasper did not like to take baths, he was now all spick and span. He was officially ready to begin a brand new life alongside his new owner, Kathy. And what followed soon after was simply amazing. Jasper went from being a dog that caused such a nuisance to his previous dog breeder owner to a newly adopted dog. So how did this relationship with Kathy go? Well, it is safe to say that the two were a match made in heaven. She has never been happier to own such a wonderful dog. Looking at these little puppy eyes, how can you even blame her? And so since the little puppy had been through so much negative experiences, Kathy wanted to make sure he understood that this was all in the past now. So Kathy was adamant on helping Jasper build a new life, and she decided to rename him. She changed it to Bertram, Bert for short. And so did Bert fit in well in the new home? Let us see. So it might have been quite scarring and unpleasant for the dog because he obviously went through so much. It was wonderful and strange to see that the little puppy has no difficulty in adopting his new name too. As soon as she decided to rename him, Bert responded to Kathy's calls right from the first time. She was extremely excited too. So after being adopted and given a new identity, Bert was slowly getting used to his brand new life. And his new owner, Kathy, runs an art gallery called The Hole. Since Bert is the new pet, he would usually spend most of his time there at the gallery. In fact, he has gotten used to his new lifestyle, and what he does now is truly something that will bring a smile to your face. So there's one adorable thing that Kathy says her new dogs absolutely enjoy doing. She explains that one of their usual rituals together would be to go to a cafe and chill there. She reveals what Bert loves the most. She says that he enjoys sitting by her side and watching her gulp delicious milkshakes. He sometimes sneaks a few sips, but as a dog, he cannot really drink much. And there is another adorable thing that the puppy is good at. It turns out Bert is actually an art connoisseur, and Kathy explains that she could not get a better assistant for her work. He loves to tag along everywhere and be next to Kathy wherever she goes. We can show you just how well Bert has traveled following the days after Kathy adopted him. And it turns out Bert met the person truly meant for him. He was adopted by a woman that truly brought out what he enjoyed deep inside. From day one, Bert was ready to join the art world. He is so calm and introspective. He's been to dozens of openings, scores of art fairs in NYC, Miami, LA, and the Hamptons even, explained Kathy Grayson. And looking at his photos, you can see that the little Pomeranian loves the new world he lives in. He enjoys spending time with Kathy, even if she's working or not. And after traveling far and wide, Bert has gained a few new friends too. And soon after, he even became a mascot. Just keep on reading to see just what he had made of himself in the past few months. So the dog now has a very settled life where he can do what he enjoys. Bertie has become our unofficial mascot, of course, and many people come to the gallery to see Bert. A lot of people bring their dogs too. They know that I'm always there with Bert in my office with treats ready to play. Kathy told the interviewers speaking about her lovable dog's habits. There is no denying that the two are indeed meant for one another, just like two pieces of a puzzle that fit perfectly. Bert does not feel weird when he is at the studio and actually gets excited when he is surrounded by artists and art lovers too. And so it is totally evident that after Bert found a forever home, it has also made Kathy happier than she ever was. The two have a lot going on after they met. After checking out the photos and learning more about him, it is hard to believe that once upon a time, this cute Pomeranian could not find anyone to buy him. Can you believe that this bear-like doggo did not get anyone to be interested in taking him into their home? His previous owners found him to be too big for his breed and decided that he was not worth keeping. And although Bert had been welcomed to an extremely arrogant owner, he ended up being lucky. He was fortunate to have found his way in the loving arms of his new owner, and it was indeed fate that was able to bring him and Kathy together. The pooch is now better than he had ever been, and now he has a place to call home in Kathy. So just imagine the kind of trauma and fear the poor little puppy would have been through when he found out he was abandoned. After his owners found him to be of no use, they left him at a shelter where no one was able to give him love. It was such a sad time frame for the lovable doggy, but soon he became lucky after Kathy found him on the internet. It was a dream come true for Kathy, as she had always wanted a dog of her own. But since she owns an art gallery, she required a pet that would be able to keep up with her busy schedule and lifestyle. But Bert ended up being the perfect dog for her, and as Kathy loves him, Bert rewards her too by being a really good boy. He's such a hilarious pup too. Wait and see. So the puppy that everyone initially thought would be too big to keep as a pet ended up making his new owner Kathy's life more memorable. She had also been quite surprised to see just how fond people were of her new puppy. And she explains that one of the biggest reasons why people love to hang with Bert is that of his peculiar and adorable bear-like face. Everywhere he goes, the little Pomeranian steals the show. Never did his first owners believe that he would be this lovable and adored. But when Kathy stepped in to take care of him and be his owner, she could see that he was the center of attention everywhere. People would literally huddle around the doggy just to get a closer look at the teddy bear-like pup. And so even though his first owners speculated that the dog would grow up to be too big, he ended up being adored wherever he goes with his new owner Kathy, and he really loves her just as she loves him. The two are inseparable and spend every waking moment with each other. So although he is tiny and adorable, Bert is super protective of Kathy. You would look at that cute face of his and think that Bert is a dog that would not even bark or bite, but actually, when it comes to Kathy's safety, he can flip. The little pup does not let anybody get too close to his adoptive mother. He makes sure to smell them first before they can get closer. Who would have thought he could be more adorable? So as we all know, social media is such a powerful tool to display whatever passion you may have. Knowing this, even Kathy wanted to make use of this wonderful digital advancement, so she ended up creating an Instagram page so that she can upload the art that her showroom showcases. She then had a brilliant idea to set up an account for her popular dog too. And so after setting up the account for her gallery, Kathy ended up creating one for Bert too. And this was the time when she decided to share whatever she and Bert go through each day. She wanted to let other people in on their daily adventures as she knew Bert was well liked by so many people. So do you think Bert's Instagram account was received positively? Well, since Bert is such a cutie pie, there's absolutely no shock that he got popular on the internet. He indeed got very famous on Instagram. After Kathy made an account for him, the little dog now has over 160,000 followers on Instagram and counting. Every day, the little guy rakes in more and more followers. In fact, look at a few of his Instagram pictures. And Kathy was right all along. She had an inkling that people would love to see Bert in his everyday life. Since he is such a photogenic pup, every post he makes gets him around 40,000 likes. This is for each picture. It truly is a twist of fate to see that the dog who was once seen as unlovable and unwanted now gets so much attention, more than he could ever need. We all know that fame of any sort can have an effect on you. You never know the kind of impact it can have on you. But although Bert is popular on Instagram, Kathy makes sure this does not hamper their life. She is sure to check that this does not affect her nor her doggy. The one thing that matters though is to see that Bert is a happy dog and that he is healthy. And as we all know, the world cannot leave a cute dog unnoticed. So many dog lovers have come across Bert's page and decided to follow what the little guy does. And there's a good reason behind them being his followers. One of Bert's favorite activities to post on Instagram photos is to dress fancy and to show off his fashion sense. This has definitely helped in building his fan base. So in the end, the story of what could have been a tragic end to the life of a lovable pup turned out to be the opposite. Now Bert's life went through a drastic change after he was spotted on an online site for adopting shelter dogs. And yes, Bert is lucky to have been picked by Kathy, who loves him unconditionally. The two are maybe